Welcome to Hong Kong Brief. The content of the briefing includes clean, green and serene. Li Keqiang, a communist Chinese leader with a human face. Hong Kong to launch pilot program for data sharing with mainland China this year. Morning update, Gaza humanitarian crisis worsens, soldiers prepare for potential Canadian evacuation. Daughter of divisive former Thai Prime Minister Thaksin named head of political party linked to him. Clean, green and serene. The Independent. The oxygen plant in Hangzhou, China, is being transformed into a cultural and tourism hub. The site will feature the O2 Museum, which includes an urban museum, an art museum, and a science museum. The museum is scheduled to open in 2024, but recently held an exhibition and series of forums to offer a preview of what visitors can expect. The exhibition focused on the work of Dutch architectural firm MVRDV and its vision of transforming cities with greenery. The firm has been involved in projects in China since 2000 and is developing the Green Maker tool to create carbon-neutral structures covered in vegetation. Li Keqiang, a communist Chinese leader with a human face. Nikkei Asia. The sudden death of Chinese Premier Li Keqiang has prompted an outpouring of sadness on China's heavily censored internet. Li was seen as an open and caring leader who had a genuine connection with ordinary people. His upbringing in an ordinary family and his own experiences during the Cultural Revolution shaped his personality. At university, Li was mentored by two well-known open-minded individuals who helped shape his thinking on politics and economics. He seemed to see a connection between economic development and democratic values. A leaked diplomatic cable from 2007 revealed his skepticism of Chinese GDP figures, preferring to look at other indicators such as electricity consumption and bank loans. These three indicators have since become known as the Li Keqiang Index and are seen by many as a more accurate way to measure China's economy. It is difficult to say what impact Li's untimely death will have on Chinese politics, but many people would agree that he was a leader with a human face. Hong Kong to launch pilot program for data sharing with mainland China this year. South China Morning Post. Hong Kong is planning to launch a pilot program for cross-border data transfer in areas such as health and banking, as part of its bid to become an innovation and technology hub. The program, which will be launched later this year, will focus on commonly used data such as personal health records, banking details, and customer information. Hong Kong officials have said that data transferred from mainland China to Hong Kong will adhere to the requirements of both jurisdictions and comply with the country's legal requirements for data export. Morning update, Gaza humanitarian crisis worsens, soldiers prepare for potential Canadian evacuation. The Globe and Mail. Israeli forces have conducted another ground raid in Gaza in preparation for an expected invasion of the Hamas-ruled territory, while U.S. warplanes attacked targets in eastern Syria. The head of the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees warned that people in Gaza will soon start dying from Israel's siege of the territory, as water, food, fuel, and medicine supplies are almost exhausted. The collective trauma experienced by Israelis as a result of the Hamas attack has galvanized the country. Canada is preparing for an evacuation if war spreads to Lebanon and 300 soldiers have been deployed. The government has ordered them to be ready to respond, however, it is not clear on what grounds an evacuation would commence. A package of reforms is being introduced in Canada to combat fraud in international student admissions and to fast-track study permit applications at colleges and universities that meet high standards. A new study funded by the Department of National Defence says Canada's CF-18 fighter aircraft force is in crisis due to low morale, high rates of departure among instructor pilots, and a shortage of maintenance technicians. Daughter of divisive former Thai Prime Minister Thaksin named head of political party linked to him. Associated Press. Paetongtarn Shinawatra, the youngest daughter of Thailand's controversial former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra, has been voted as the leader of the ruling Pheu Thai party. Pheu Thai is believed to be supported by Thaksin and serves his political interests. The party's previous leader resigned for breaking a pledge not to form a government with any military-aligned parties. Thaksin was ousted by a military coup in 2006 and fled into self-imposed exile in 2008 before being found guilty of corruption and abuse of power. He returned to Thailand this year and was transferred to a state hospital. Former Barca and Real star on 255th El Clasico, the match that stops planet. South China Morning Post. Former Barcelona and Real Madrid player Javier Saviola has described the upcoming El Clasico match between the two teams as the match that stops the planet. Saviola, who played for both clubs during his career, said that the rivalry between Barcelona and Real Madrid was unrivaled, and that the passion for the fixture extended worldwide. Saviola also praised Barcelona's philosophy of promoting young players, citing the recent debuts of Lamine Yamal and Marc Guiu as examples of the club's commitment to nurturing young talent. Li Keqiang, late China Premier, championed growth, small business. Bloomberg. Li Keqiang, the late Chinese Premier, focused on economic growth and the expansion of private businesses and innovation during his tenure. His efforts resulted in China's GDP doubling, narrowing the gap with the US, helping millions of people escape extreme poverty, and earning him a reputation for being responsive to people's needs. Li's emphasis on economic development contrasted with President Xi Jinping's focus on balancing development and security. Despite Xi's tightening grip on the economy and the erosion of Li's influence over critical economic decisions, Li remained enthusiastic about small private sector businesses and private property rights. He championed opening up China's capital markets and supported efforts to introduce market discipline. However, Li's legacy is mixed when it comes to the balance between private and public ownership. The share of state-owned companies remained constant during Xi's tenure, largely due to the rapid expansion of China's state-owned financial sector. Li's economic influence waned after 2015, and he became known for highlighting the shortcomings of China's economy. Overall, Li's posthumous significance may lie in his symbolization of directional liberalism, the idea that China's overall direction is toward looser control over private business. China funds raised stakes in financials, consumer goods, cyclicals in third quarter. South China Morning Post. Chinese mutual funds have increased their exposure to sectors linked to economic activity, such as consumer goods, financials, and materials. At the same time, they have reduced their positions in technology stocks amid rising US-China tensions. The move reflects fund managers' perception that the Chinese economy is set to rebound following a series of growth-stabilizing measures taken by the authorities. The budget deficit has been increased and policies such as cuts to banks' reserve requirement ratio and easing of restrictions on home purchases have been implemented. China retailer Suning talks debt extension with major creditors. Bloomberg. Chinese retailer Suning Appliance Group has proposed extending $6.1 billion of unsecured debt by 8 years in an effort to deal with a liquidity crunch. The company shared its proposal with an onshore creditor committee, which was established in September 2021 and has been working with Suning on its debt load. Suning has been facing liquidity stress since late 2020, and its founder, Zhang Jindong, waived his right to repayment of a 20 billion yuan investment from China Evergrande Group, raising concerns about the company's ability to pay its own debt. Suning's latest proposal involves paying 90% of the debt in non-cash assets and the remaining 10% in cash installments over 8 years. Pre-market, global shares cautiously higher ahead of U.S. core inflation data. The Globe and Mail. Global shares rose on Friday as data showed the U.S. economy was growing strongly and before a core inflation report that may show price pressures are continuing to fall. MSCI's all-country equity gauge rose 0.2% after news on Thursday that the U.S. economy expanded at its fastest rate for almost 2 years in Q3, while the European Central Bank also held interest rates steady. Economists expect a report on Friday to show U.S. core personal consumption expenditure, the Federal Reserve's preferred inflation measure, fell to 3.7% in September from 3.9% in August. Ping and profit falls as market rout hurts investment returns. Bloomberg. Ping An Insurance, China's second largest insurer, has reported a 5.6% decline in net profit for the first 9 months of the year, due to market volatility and rising costs. The company's operating profit also fell 9.8% for the same period. The company's investment returns have been hit by the stock market rout in China this year and low interest rates. Ping An is trying to revive growth in its new business following 3 years of reform. China's woes push some of Europe's debt-laden companies to brink. Bloomberg. The slowdown in China's economy is impacting Europe's junk credit markets, with companies struggling to manage their debt loads due to a decrease in demand from China. Witter Holding, a German elevator component manufacturer, experienced a plunge in revenue after a real estate bubble burst in China. IGM Resins, owned by Astorg Partners, is at risk of running out of cash, and Accolade Wines is struggling to refinance. The China slowdown is causing pain across multiple industries, and Europe's exports to China are set to decline for the first time since 2002, according to EU statistics. Cathay budget airline HK Express offers 100,000 tickets from $10 in sale. South China Morning Post. HK Express, the budget airline under Cathay Pacific Airways, is offering 100,000 tickets starting at $10, $1, in a 3-day sale. The airline also announced that its flight frequencies have now exceeded pre-pandemic levels. The sale is part of HK Express 10th anniversary celebration and includes tickets to 15 destinations. The airline aims to have its capacity run at 1.7 times that of pre-pandemic levels and plans to expand its fleet to more than 40 aircraft by 2025. HK Express is also looking to hire 180 pilots and more than 300 cabin crew by the end of this year. Huawei reports its revenue inched higher in January-September, despite U.S. sanctions. Yahoo! Chinese telecoms company Huawei generated $86.3 billion in revenue for the first 9 months of the year, an increase of 2.4% on 2020. The firm, which is not listed on any stock exchanges, has struggled since former U.S. President Donald Trump put it on a blacklist in 2019. Huawei has since pivoted to help companies digitize, and has invested in technologies such as advanced computer chips and autonomous driving. The company has also recently launched its Mate 60 smartphone series in China, which uses domestically made chips. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.